Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Good day and welcome to the Boombar on Boom Radio NG. My name is Solarogers. Namaste.
And my name is Ola Dolukwa. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is the Boombar right here on your Boom Radio NG. We're giving you everything on entertainment, sports, music, politics, and everything in between. So everything in between can be anything and everything. So sit back, relax. It is 1 hour of everything that comes up as news, especially Nigerian news, but whatever and updates of things that has been happening, we definitely will come to you, break it down to you, and we're here. We're here. That's it. And today we're going to be talking about a few things. There's talks of strikes here and there. The electricity companies are planning to embark on a strike. Looks like, fingers crossed, assustrike might end very soon. So we're definitely going to be talking about that. There are few updates on what we talked about yesterday. Football, the Chelsea-Tottenham game that was played on Sunday, and we talked about it extensively. There's an update on that from the English FA. We definitely would we'll see what of that, how much of that we can take. Also, the what's it called? Game yesterday. There was Monday Night Football yesterday. That would we definitely would see how we can talk about that. Then we're going to talk about a few things moving off that. Kaduna State, there's controversy about whether the state name is going to be changed or not. Looks like the governor has come out to debunk that news. And it's funny how at times you hear like, okay, where is what's happening? How did all these news, where did they just pop up from? But anyway, it is what it is. It definitely happens, and then we would get to talk about it also. The Inspector General of Police is in the news, honoring a police officer for doing something very amazing in my own books. Something very amazing. We don't see a lot of that these days. Something that I think that is worthy of emulation. Something that we definitely could talk about. Also, a 19-year-old boy seems to be in jail on the name of making skits. We're definitely going to see if we can touch on that. Also, the APC seems to have serious infighting, and some people are asking for their money back.
Yeah.
Some people just want their money back. Which, let's be honest, some things are not. It's not a. How do I say it now? At times you wonder, you're like, okay, is it really a bad thing to actually want your money back in this situation? Really, it might not be so much of a bad idea to actually want your money back. So yes, we're going to be talking about that and a few other things. As stories come up here and there.
Word.
So, starting from, where do we even get to start from? The people with the strikes. Oh, no, you know what? Let's just do a little bit breakdown of what happened with the sports yesterday, and then we just quickly move on from that. And before we go on to Monday Night Football, the English FA has come out to say that the Chelsea and Tottenham coaches both have till Thursday to reply. According to them, let me read what the statement. It said that Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte have both been charged with a breach of FA Rule E3 following the Premier League fixture between Chelsea FC and Tottenham Hotspur FC on Sunday, 14th August 22. It is alleged that the behavior of both managers was improper following the end of the fixture. Thomas Tuchel and Antonio Conte have until Thursday, 18th August 2022 to provide their respective responses.
Yeah, yesterday we did talk about the act shameful in my own books by both managers, and how the FA had rules in place governing such behavior. I've seen managers find huge sums of money for lesser crimes. I call them crimes, so of course I don't mean crime in the criminal parlance.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting some serious reprimand from them, from the FA, on I expect them to clamp down on Tuchel and Conte, the coaches of Tottenham and Chelsea. I know, of course, emotions were running high and all of that, but you are professionals. The whole world is watching, and you're supposed to be of exemplary behavior and on top of your game.
Oh yeah.
Every time. So some of the excuses might not be tenable, So, but I don't know if they're going to get the same kind of reprimand or fine, but they both will be getting, because I don't know what defense they want to put in.
I don't know for that. I don't know. Okay, he did it first, or I spoke to him first, or because I don't get it. And especially when these things are actually like right there on video. Also, there is also talks or rumors of how Thomas Tuchel is most likely going to get, I know you had talked about it yesterday, going to get sanctioned for his statements against the referee. But are you saying, I have a question, sorry, that people are not supposed to speak against something they feel bad about?
In this particular sport, there are ways to channel your grievances, and you're not allowed to come out in public to castigate officials, especially at least based on the way they're going to come down on him. You get Jose Mourinho learned the hard way. That even Arsene Wenger has been at the receiving end of such treatment. I think Alex Ferguson too has been at the receiving end of such treatment from time to time. So it got to a point where there was a time when Ferguson refused to talk to the media, and you know that the match briefings, post-match briefings are important. So he would send a deputy coach or a deputy manager to go there and go talk to them at some point, because they're like, I'm not talking to these guys. You get? So we've seen a lot of that, and we expect that this is going to happen. It's definitely coming down. If they're lucky, they'll get off with a slap on the wrist. But I don't see how to.
It's not looking at it. It's not looking at it. Okay, so definitely we'll see. We'll definitely see how that goes. We know that that's a developing story. It's still we're still going to see how that goes. Let's move on from that and move on to yesterday's game between Liverpool and Crystal Palace. For the second time now, for the second game. Liverpool have only tried to get a draw, of where you definitely will not expect that from people that almost won the Premier League last season. Literally almost won the Premier League. Literally almost won Champions League last season. Yeah. They were just 1 point shy away from winning the Premier League. They got to the finals of the Champions League, and then this season they seem to be struggling.
Yeah, and I have a theory about it.
Okay.
And there's another publication that seems to share my theory, although I didn't talk about mine earlier, maybe because I was not asked until now. The issue with Liverpool is Sadio Mane. That's it.
But I know that I've had discussion with a few people, and it's really a lot of Liverpool fans did not have a problem with him leaving.
Okay. But if you check the stats, they never lost when Sadio Mane was playing at Anfield.
Oh. Okay.
I know we had this discussion once with Shubomi and it doesn't matter. Okay. Now check. Sadio Mane is an important part of that team. He was integral. It was like the driving force.
I never really saw this, but I know that we've had that discussion before. But now that she said it, I don't know.
Check out how well he's doing with his new team, and how well oiled that machine is. That he just slotted in as if it's been there for years. Then go back and check out why Liverpool, even with the new players that they have, are losing or struggling. 2 draws on the bounce to 2 teams that they would normally have, taken to the cleaners, even at Anfield against Crystal Palace.
I agree that Crystal Palace since
Fulham,
what's it called? Patrick Vieira, they're hard not to crack. That you cannot say. They're not doing badly. But it's Liverpool we're talking about here.
Exactly.
And then it's Fulham. Like seriously.
That's my point. That's my point.
Okay.
I think they're missing money.
So they need to find something to do to that.
Their next game, which might be a tough one, because they're playing fellow strugglers. But But you didn't let me finish though. But bottom of the league, Man United. Relegation bound Man United.
Okay.
When you look at the way it's structured, it's going to be a tough game because it's a derby. It's the North England derby. Whenever these two come at each other, but in recent times, Liverpool has had the upper hand, especially last season.
Yeah, they have. They definitely have.
When they did a double and basically destroyed Man United at Old Trafford. You get. So,
is it looking like it now?
But again, if you do a player-by-player analysis of both teams, Liverpool edge it.
Oh yes.
They have a better team. There's no gainsaying no need to beat about the bush. Liverpool have got a better team than Man United at the moment.
But
how many Man United players can start for Liverpool? That's one of the ways to look at it. How many of those guys in Man United?
Who in Man United can bounce players in Liverpool? I agree with you.
Combined 11.
How much of that will translate to goals now?
So this is it. Will Liverpool use this as a turning point for their season and start to put 3 points on the board? Or will
they need it? They definitely need it at this point. Or will Man United
be the ones to say enough is enough? We can't lose 3 games on the bounce. We must get 3 points, or a draw.
Honest truth is that as much as Liverpool, Manchester United needs this. I think that I will still tilt the win to Liverpool, because also Liverpool 3 draws from the beginning of the season is not looking good. Yes, it might be 1 point instead of 0 points, but it's Liverpool we're talking about here. And the sad part is that a lot of teams that a lot of people seem to overlooking are not doing badly at all. I was looking at Nottingham Forest, and I did not know until about 2-3 days ago, when I was actually checking out what happened in Championship, that I noticed they actually play a lot of games in Championship. Okay, these people, looking at it from that angle, they probably have a lot of stamina.
But that doesn't translate to this team, because they bought an entire new team. These guys have bought 11 players and counting. So those ones did not play in the Championship.
Okay, true.
So it really doesn't try. But maybe the other teams that came up with them, that have kept the core of their team from the Championship and maybe just brought in 1 or 2 players. But if you check out Nottingham Forest, as pointed, Jesse Lingard is there. Awuni, Mano
Yeah, it
Dennis.
was just Lingard I was trying to remember yesterday, and you're wondering like, what's just Lingard doing in Nottingham Forest?
Oh yeah,
though?
he's left Man United. So
Yeah,
it's one of the
like-
6 or 7 that I was telling you that were never replaced.
That's what I'm saying. Like for you to leave Manchester United to go to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, he didn't get a new deal
At this point.
The man took a walk.
So why? Like, how do you let someone like that go when you're lacking this many people? But it's obvious. It definitely is obvious that we see what is happening. But let's move on from that, and we know that there's no football till Friday or Saturday again. So anyway, moving on from sports. And let's move on to something very interesting that is happening a lot, and it is the issue of strikes. First things first, let's talk about ASUU and how ASUU is insisting on how they have to be paid about, I think, 1.1 trillion naira, and they have to use utas instead of the ippis, and a lot of their demands. And one question that I always have is that if the federal government is your employer and you are an employee, do you determine how you are being paid or not?
Oh, that's a question direct.
Oh, yes, that's a question.
Well, in an ideal situation, you probably won't be able to, except you've been called.
It's the same way.
Except you've been called for a negotiation as a new employee.
Like civil servants.
And you're trying to negotiate.
I'm not sure they had a choice.
You get, but in the case of ASUU, I see that they have garnered some kind of powers for themselves. Then, bearing in mind, it is political season. It is election season. There is pressure. So ASUU knows the game that they are playing. Like, this is the perfect time to hold the government by the jugular. Like, if you don't talk to us. Look, there's a video of the ASUU leader campaigning against this government.
Yeah, and you're wondering like, okay.
Do you understand?
When did ASUU become a political party?
And somewhere in the statute that governs the civil service and all of those things, you're not supposed to be partisan. Then you campaigning against someone means you are.
You are.
That's what it means.
And then this set of people that you're campaigning for or you're campaigning against, you are hoping that they still pay your salaries.
You're even going to negotiate with them.
You're going to negotiate with them. So make it make sense. I'm not saying that some things that they're asking for does not make sense, but also I think that we should really just, I'm not sure that they're being objective. I saw interviews of the governor of Ebonyi State, also the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, where as was going on, I think there's been conversations how the federal government should borrow money, and how they've been saying that you borrow money for infrastructure or you borrow money for investments that make the money back. It's not an investment for you to pay people's salaries. It makes no sense. 1.1 trillion. Last I checked, Nigeria's whole budget for the year was about 13 point something trillion. So if a percentage of that, about 8% of that is used to pay salary for just a few number of people, what are the rest of the 200 million Nigerians supposed to eat?
No. What about the rest in the same sector? The ASUU guys are only in the tertiary part of education.
Yeah, and they're just the teaching staff.
Uh-huh.
What happens to non-teaching staff, the senior
staff?
All those, there's a lot of what happens to the polytechnics, what happens to the College of Educations and all that. It's a lot of what's it called. I'm hoping that at some point this IPPIS thing, I don't see the point of this UTAS thing. Why? Because I still say it's because, to me, maybe if I'm wrong, somebody should correct me. I'm taking it from the angle of employer and employee. You get work, your boss says this is how you are going to be paid. You agree to it or you fall out.
Well, I did have a discussion with a lecturer a couple of weeks ago, and they complained about the efficacy of the IPPIS.
But all federal civil servants in the country use it.
I think the military too. And
The military, everybody that the federal government pays uses it.
About it and how it's faulty and its computations are wrong. They also said that the utas is a better application and it's a better platform for salary payment, and that's why they're advocating for it. So to them, they pointed out some errors that the IPPIS platform had
But isn't it
generated.
selfish? You can have these discussions here, which I'm not saying that we shouldn't have, but isn't it selfish for you to be on strike for 5 months because of how you want to get paid?
Yeah, it's not just about how they want to get paid. They're saying that they want a better educational system for Nigeria, tertiary education.
Okay, so keeping people at home.
Funding. They want the schools to look better. You know, they want more equipment. They just basically are saying that they want things to get better than the way they are now.
So keeping students at home is better. Because I'm not understanding what the plan is or whatever.
But again, you know that the students are just like a bargaining chip in the whole matter. You know, I keep sounding like a broken record when I say that when two elephants fight, the elephants, government and ASUU at this point, the grass are the students, and of course they are suffering. You know, because at the end of the day, there are students who will be calculating by the hour how much success or progress that they would have made, you know, and how they are forced to, you know, just basically wing it now and go through life, you know,
do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, very sad one. But anyway, moving on from that, and let's move on to something interesting. Another person that seems like they're going on strike very soon is this one, which is going to be very difficult too. This one, you know, is students that had issues with ASUU. Now the whole country is going to be affected as electricity workers are planning to go on strike tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
It is not a good time to be in government or governance or even politics, even if a lot of people are aspiring to. I said it was election season, but I think I failed to mention that it's also strike season.
Yeah.
And this will be crippling if it happens. The electricity workers, imagine if they go on strike now and they just leave the light the way it is.
Beautiful.
You will not want them to come back again. Because there will be no load shedding.
Yeah.
And all of that. But again,
there's nobody to monitor this thing.
Who's going to monitor the power plants and everything, where they need to top up fuel, where they need to switch from one end to another and all of that, all the important work that they do, you know. So, but they are going to shut down the power plants. So maybe they say, oh, from a safety perspective, since we're going on strike, we can't leave it running. But guess what? They're going to shut it down because they want us to feel the heat. And the more heat that we feel, the more pressure we will pile on government on their behalf. Give them what they want to. Why are we suffering? You know, why is government so insensitive? Why? These are the things that you're going to hear. If that strike happens tomorrow. You know, so again, what are they fighting for? They're talking about some people being owed some monies. They're talking about
there's some people that they laid off that they were supposed to pay them. I think it's 2019 or something.
They're also talking about asking some senior level staff of the power companies to go through some kind of physical screening and all for promotion, and they're not happy with that, and a couple of other things. And you take a look at it and you're like, all right. So for this reason, we're about to be plunged into further darkness. I put further there deliberately because it is dark as it is.
It is dark. Weirdly, you know, shout out to the electricity companies, because I don't know about other people, but in the past few weeks, electricity has actually been very good. weirdly good. Let me put it like very. I don't know if it's me. It's been weird. Like there's almost always power. And you're like, okay, is this normal? Like you po, let's you know what? Let's go back to normal. But so it's going to be very difficult. At the moment, the transmission company of Nigeria is appealing to electricity workers to suspend their proposed strike.
Yes. So it is very important that we hope and pray that they listen. If they listen to the appeal, it will be good news. But if they don't, this is what happens again. Virtually every home in Nigeria owns a generating set or two or three, you know. So what it means is you want to power your gen. So you're going to go buy more fuel. And when you buy more fuel, there'll be more noise, pollution, carbon, in the air, expenses that you didn't factor in, especially for people who have been enjoying steady power supply or similarly steady power supply. So it's not just going to be in the power generating subsector. It's going to affect, the consumption of fuel and other things. Again, I was talking to a friend yesterday who is into farming and is virtually lost a massive investment because of the shutdown of the grid.
Oh.
The shutdown of the grid affected his business, his farm, and he had gotten a loan to scale the business. And right now everything is gone.
Wow.
Solely because of the grid shutting down for that incessant grid shutdown that we had back to back to back.
Wow.
So at times we don't look at people like him when we're talking about all
yeah.
of these actions,
It's a whole thing.
We don't look at them. We just look maybe from our own small minuscule position and say, okay, this is what I'm going to lose or this is what I'm going to gain from it. But there's a bigger picture of how this industrial actions affect people negatively more than positively. Again, people will say, why is government not fulfilling their own side of the deals? Yes, that is the ideal situation, but again, we also need to come to a point where we realize that we need to put humanity first also. I know I have a lot of friends who are doctors, and whenever they're down tools, I'm worried. You know how bad it gets is that some senior level doctors volunteer just to keep the hospital
going. Yes,
so they are clerking by themselves. They're treating patients. Every patient that comes through becomes outpatient, as against patients that are supposed to be admitted. Then
because there's nobody to treat them.
Nobody's going to attend to them. Give them their drugs as at when due, administer the drugs and test and everything. So again, when these strikes happen, these are the things that happen. And so when sadly someone maybe loses their life or a loved one, you blame it on the government, who you feel should have done something with the doctors so that they don't go on strike. Now, I'm not blaming doctors for anything. I'm just saying that I hope we get to a point where we don't even need to go on strike for anything, So government on its own has to up its game, Government needs to ensure that they cater to the needs of these essential workers, because power generating people are essential workers.
So, moving on from that, let's move on to something else. Move on to another issue. Is the issue of banditry and terrorism. As now, the Zamfara state government is in the news concerning that, as the governor of Zamfara state has signed, has approved death sentence for anyone found guilty of banditry, kidnapping, cattle rustling, cultism, or serving as a bandit informant in the state. I'm like, why is this not a national law already?
Okay, so everybody knows, but in case you don't know, Zamfara State is a big state in Nigeria that is going through a lot when it comes to security. They've got major security issues in Zamfara State. It's so bad that the governor at some point was encouraging people to go get weapons.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And all of that. And we were like, no, maybe you should have done it better and started your own vigilante or civilian joint task force, which is what they've done now.
They've done,
all of that. So again, you also need laws to back up a couple of things that need to be done. And laws that will serve as a deterrent, at least, if not for the ardent criminals.
Okay, sorry. Soto Ian says, what took them so long?
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like,
yeah, because it's actually required that we move fast on these things.
I honestly feel it shouldn't be a national thing. I think that...
And that is where you start to see that government fails in that regard, because you're supposed to be proactive now.
To me, I think that if I remember correctly, if I remember that Zamfara government were part of some of the states, please correct me if I'm wrong, that were actually they started paying bandits money at some point.
Yeah, it was alleged that they paid monies to some bandits, and it was alleged that Zamfara State and a couple of other states governors were doing that.
And I think I don't think that they took it, they saw it as seriously as it is. Because for me, I felt that if they all had this offensive approach from the get, a lot of these things wouldn't have deteriorated to this level.
Yes, and that's why we always, pray that we're on top of our game when it comes to governance and planning, because again, they're always the low-hanging fruits, they're the palliatives, and they're the long-term goals and objectives that you set and you're supposed to meet, just to make life easier for everybody. So on this note, for me, I think the governor of Zamfara has made a smart move by declaring, this level of punishment. So you better think twice if you are one of those people that fall into that category, because now there's a law that they have, and
it's very interesting. In fact, anyone found guilty of just supporting in any manner the aforementioned offenses, you're not involved in it though, but you seem to, be in cahoots, or you just like what they do, there is a life sentence or 20 years in jail without the option of fine.
Yeah. So this is good. And again, just like you said, I remember when I think it was Kano or Kaduna, which is one of the northern K states, or Katsina, that came up with a law about rape.
Oh, it's Kaduna.
Yeah.
It's Kaduna.
And I said, this is hard, and this should be nationwide. Remember when Lagos came up with the law on kidnapping? And I think there's some kind of heavy punishment.
Yeah, that's it.
I also feel that it should be nationwide.
Those are things that we need to redo in our constitution.
So again, the law in Zamfara, I also feel that it should be nationwide. That's what I feel.
Exactly. So let's move on from Zamfara and let's go to Kaduna State, where there seems to be now Kaduna State or Zazzaustate. Because there seems to be some controversy. Some gist came up this morning that a senator who is senator representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District, who is the APC governorship candidate for Kaduna State, Senator Ubasani had come out to put out a bill in the House about changing the name of Kaduna to Zazzau. And it was kind of laughable, like really, when I saw it, to me, let me put it like that, as really. And then the news I saw was that he put this up, but it was shut down by the Senate President. It even passed, the bill didn't even pass the first reading. That was what I saw this morning. only for us to hear reports that the governor had come out to say that the story is false and there's nothing like that. Now, Senator Obasani has come out himself to debunk this report that there was actually not even a bill like that.
Well, welcome to the era of...
So where did... okay, so my point is, what is that supposed to do?
Well,
You get, like, what was he supposed... No, I'm saying, look, I'm saying it from the angle of, let's even say that they went ahead to change the name of the... Whoever came up with this story, what were they planning to achieve? Was there going to be a riot? Was there going to be increased insecurity? Was there going to be a protest? Were people going to down tools? Do you understand? Like, what was the point of this story?
Okay, so at times when this kind of sponsored stories, I use the word sponsored loosely, come out, you start to wonder, like you do, yeah? But again, when things like this happen, one of the easiest things that you can do is to ask, who is going to benefit the most from
That's what I'm trying to say, like, okay.
So I have not been conversant with state creation or naming issues in Kaduna. I know that I advocate for an extra state to be created in the southeastern part of Nigeria. Hear me out before you bury me alive. Wait, I'm saying that is the only geopolitical region that has 5 states.
But you know that it does not increase the landmass or increase the people there.
But it brings governors closer to the people.
Or it's just they're literally just going to carve out. The Northwest has 7 states.
Okay, we're talking about it carving out, about things being carved out.
They're just going to carve it out from the original 5 states anyway.
Okay, so Ekiti was carved out of Ondo.
I get it. We know that we used to have 12 states.
Ebonyi was also carved out.
Okay.
Ebonyi was carved out. Enugu was carved out. Do you understand where I'm going? It's political. What I'm talking about is purely politics here now. And
because that's where I'm coming from. Like, it's the same people, it's the same landmass.
Hey, but you see, this is it. You're saying the same people, the same landmass. Ekiti was part of Ondo. Now, look at that landmass that you're talking about. There are 2 states there. What does that tell you? There are 6 senators on that landmass instead of 3. That same landmass that you're talking about counts the number of House of Rep members that are there. The same landmass that you're talking about count the number of House of Assembly members that it has produced. If Ekiti State, for instance, has 30 House of Assembly members, Ondo has 30, that's 60. Take it further down to the number of local governments, wards, and regions, and all of that. The more you do this, because again, there are other things that you need to consider a lot of things. I just feel that maybe the people in the southeast might not agree with me. You understand? They don't even have to, but I just feel that it won't be a bad idea if another state was carved out, because hey, what that also means is that, you know, you bring governors closer to the people and closer to the people. But let's put that aside. So back to the agitation for zazzaustate. You know, if it's been...
What's Zauzau though?
You know?
What is Zauzau?
I don't speak Hausa. So I wish it was one of those that Abuki was back from his long sojourn. He would have helped us, being a Kaduna man himself. You know? So, but whatever happens, there might have been some kind of agitation before. I know that for years, people have been agitating for Ijebu State.
Yeah,
and Ijebu State is not going to be carved out of Ogun alone. They want Ikorodu to join them. Yes, that's what they're saying. Then in Oyo, there's agitation for Ibadan State.
Ibadan State. Ibadan is big.
Okay.
Ibadan is big.
You're not talking about landmass and things.
Ibadan has the landmass, but okay, true.
Is it not still going to be carved out of somewhere? You know? And that's what we're saying. So at the end of the day, since we've created a couple of states from time to time, it might not be a bad thing to look into and see if people are asking for it, and if it's genuine and maybe they want to just have their own thing. It's never possible, or it's never impossible to do if people really set their minds to it.
Okay, so I look at just doing a quick Google search here. Zazzaustate is also known as the Zaria Emirate. Okay, so now I get it, because if it becomes Zazzaustate, remember that especially a Kaduna state that has both the southern Kaduna and the northern Kaduna. Now you're saying Zaria is basically the northern part of Kaduna, is the state capital. Zazzaustate is also known as Zaria Emirate, is a traditional state with headquarters in Zaria, is the current emir of Zazzaustate. Okay, so the emir of Zaria is literally called the emir of Zazzaustate. Zazzaustate, the original name was a collection point for slaves to be delivered to the northern markets of Kano and Katsina, where they were exchanged for salt with traders who carried them to the north of the Sahara. Okay, so I'm not even sure this is even a very nice name to even call a whole state.
Well, at least they've nipped it in the bud now. So.
Yeah, because the nipping in the bud is the fact that it did not even happen. Do you understand?
That is the
like the story I saw this morning, like I said, was that it was shut down in the Senate, but it was even no bill at all.
Okay, again, it could be the work, like our politicians will say, it could be the work of their political detractors. Like, okay, let us paint this guy as a divisionist, someone who wants to cut the state up. Then let's see how he's going to campaign. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It could be a political gimmick. It could be anything.
It could be.
It's political. It's election season.
Yeah.
Anything can happen.
I agree with you. And let's move on from that and let's go all the way to the police, where the Inspector General of Police, before we even go to this story, I think I want to commend the police. This particular Inspector General, his administration seems to be on top of a lot of things. They have been clamping down a lot of people, and they've also been just a few days ago, remember we talked about, they've also been commending a lot of people. I think that's the way to go.
It is the way to go. The Inspector General seems like someone who actually
has a plan.
Yeah, and he's been listening and he's been carrying out, the plan. And I'm happy with recent actions that he has taken, especially getting personally involved in the dismissal of errant policemen, the dismissal of law-breaking law officers. That is sending out a major story and a major signal
to a lot of them.
It won't deter the hard ones, though, the really bad guys.
Oh yeah,
it won't deter them. But the ones that are still borderline will be like, oh more, this IG they smile, maybe we know near.
And you that are not going to, hopefully you're the long arm of the law will get to you very quickly. As the Inspector General of Police has commended a police officer in Kano, SP Daniel Ama, for rejecting a $200,000 bribe. The police PRO of the Kano State Command said the commendation letter was signed by the IG was presented by the Acting Commissioner of Police. It said that Ama was highly commended for maintaining outstanding, excellent work, uncommon focus, dedication to duty, and exhibition of sound professionalism that led to the arrest and prosecution of one Ali Zaki and some police officers in a case of an armed robbery involving the sum of 320 million naira.
Yeah, that's a lot of money in Nigeria, and $200,000 is a lot of money anywhere in the world. And we shouldn't be saying this on air because I know it's going to be on air forever. But man, bros,
that's amazing.
You'll be superhero.
Yeah, that is amazing, really.
Like you see, the way kryptonite is to Superman, is the way dollars is to a lot of people. Me included. I'm not going to in a condition that $200,000. Lord help me, Lord help me.
$200,000.
Don't even convert it in black market rate.
No. See. I used to tell people, don't convert it anyhow. $200,000 in dollars. How many Americans have $200,000?
Oh, well,
do you understand my point? Don't convert it to Nigerian naira.
She have no plenty. Stay
in the dollar zone. $200,000 in America is a lot of money.
Let me convert.
It's a lot of money.
$1,000 is 6.
Oh my God.
No, sorry. A bank rate is
430.
So $10,000 is 4 million. 100,000 is 40 million. So 200,000 is 80 something million in the bank rate.
Uncle,
if you not
shout out to you.
If you like, go to Hassan.
Oh, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Yo.
Akerele, that's 120 million naira. It's small money now. It's small money. It's just $200,000. It's small money.
Where is your 200 million?
Don't talk to me anyhow.
Where is your $200,000?
Because I don't like displaying wealth.
Where is your $200,000?
Displaying wealth does not mean you should.
I see.
Don't talk to me. 200,000 is small money.
It is. I see.
Dollars.
And we are still talking about it, but it's small money.
Let's move it.
But it's small money.
Let's move on. We have plenty of stories.
It's this small money. Anyway.
200,000.
What's he talking about it? Oh my God! I thought it was small money.
86 million naira in the bank, 120 in the black market.
Shout out to you again, shout out to you.
You try.
You know, it's amazing. It's amazing what these things people can, and you know why I always say that. For me, some people are who they are, no matter what. A thief is a thief is a thief.
Yeah.
Someone that is not a thief is not a thief. There's nothing you can use to entice them. Really, at the end of the day, that's my own belief. So shout out to him. I hope that he continues this, and I hope that he gets the best of.
In celebrating him, and I hope that the federal government keys into this. There was a lady who had found a large chunk of money at the airport. Mm-hmm. She met with the president. Again, I think they should. These kind of people should have streets named after them.
Last week, I know that there was there was a police officer that was swiftly, what's it called now? That was swiftly decorated and promoted to Assistant Commissioner of Police for doing something very. Do you understand? So
I should get that. I was coming to that. I was going to start with immortalizing him by giving him a street name somewhere in Abuja or in his hometown.
Yeah.
Maybe some apartment somewhere for his family and scholarship. Because
it's good to encourage people like that. Okay, your good deed really did pay off at the end of the day.
It's not just commendation letter, IG sir. I know you don't have big money, but tell Oga President. Yeah,
let's do something. I agree with you. So another story where so this is an update of something that we had talked about, I think a week or two ago. This is the incarcerated lawyer, the person of Inibehe Effiong, who the chief judge of Akwa Ibom State had thrown into jail for a month for contempt of court, as he's now suing the chief justice herself, saying that she has refused to furnish him with his conviction order and copies of court proceedings despite his repeated applications.
The case of Inibehe Effiong is interesting, and knowing that the chief judge of the state and the judge on the case herself is a very, very experienced legal luminary and all. The process of incarcerating Inibehe should be followed duly under the law. So if what he is saying is correct, that he's not being served and he's not been given some notice and all of those things, then that means it's illegal. I mean, isn't it like black and white there? Do you understand that if you're going to do this, you have to do this?
Yeah.
So for me, I think that they should maybe quickly serve him or let him go if they know that they're not going to do the right thing. Because he's also quoting the constitution, and Although I know that when lawyers come, they look at things from different angles, and that's why they are learned, and the rest of us are learning. We are learning. So I just hope that
we'll definitely see how this goes.
But on a lighter note, great lawyers in Nigeria, top lawyers, have all been incarcerated from time to time. You know the great.
Oh yeah. But I also at times, for me, I'm not a lawyer, but I also think that at times, especially people that call themselves human rights lawyers, at times really, in putting your point across, seem to get into issues with the law a lot. Because yes, we still not forget that the court, the judge is still literally the judge in the court. They own their courts.
But again, the news out of the correctional centers are not good. There's stories of him being harassed, that they cut his beard and cut his hair. I don't know if the law is against prisoners having beards and keeping their hair and all of that. So
that's true. Is there probably a law?
I don't think that. So. But you see people who go to prison and they come out with massive beards and stuff. But he's gone in with his own beard, which is like his signature look and everything. Let's just look. Even if you see him as opposition, you see him as whatever.
Just do the right thing.
Yes, by law. Let's do the right thing.
I agree with you. Quickly before we go, it's a very good thing for people to, as much as we want to do funny things and we want to, because now these days skits seem to be the thing that is making a lot of rounds these days. It literally has become an industry in itself. But skit making has landed a 19-year-old in jail. And the person of Eyitayo Iluyomade, a 19-year-old comedian, has been arrested and charged to court for an expensive joke. The scheme maker was alleged to have dropped a threat note of robbery at First Bank's Sabo branch counter in Ondo town on Friday. The police PRO confirmed the incident, saying that the scheme maker made a very expensive and sensitive joke. He said the guy dropped a note at the bank indicating that by 1 p.m. on the said day, his armed robbery gang members would come and rob the bank. In the note, he wrote, "We are coming to rob and there is nothing your police can do." It was a mad move considering the insecure situation in Nigeria and in Ondo State. Now, reports have said that after his arrest, he has been taken to court by the police on a 3-count charge bordering on conspiracy, threat, and manner likely to pose a threat. Sadly, the defendant pleaded not guilty to the charge, but the magistrate had refused his bail application.
Yeah, Eyitayo Iluyomade, has actually begged for forgiveness. And something instructive. He said, he's been doing this in Lagos. He just went to Ondo for the first time or whatever. You see, content creation,
every day is
that's
for
what
the
we are doing now.
One day is for the owner.
Everything you do, try to do it within the confines of the
common
law.
Sense.
How can
that's me?
You write all because you want to do skit and put it on YouTube and TikTok and get views and get paid for it? How can you write a bank? I think that's crossing. That's not the line. No? That's crossing the country.
Yes,
you have crossed a boundary that it might be a point of no return. I hope that they will temper justice with mercy, and look at him as if young man who really
I don't
know what
think so.
I don't believe so. You actually did write a letter saying you were going to rob a bank, all in the name of skit. So what were you going to do? You would now carry camera and see them running out, yeah. Then you now laugh and say, ha ha ha, surprise! They go beat you, eh? There's a guy that goes about harassing women, all in the name of skit making.
Yeah.
And he does some stupid things to men too. He dresses a jalabia, carries a nylon bag, and he goes about pulling women's wigs off
and
their
all
head.
that.
Then when they attack him, at times he makes like he wants to attack back, or he's laughing. It's not funny. It is not. And whenever I see that, whoever posts that thing on my timeline, I block the person that posted, block the people that I don't want to see such. And this is where we need to learn. It's good for people to be creative, but again, you're harassing people and you're poking fun at them and you're enjoying it. You're deriving pleasure in it. It's stupidity, and you will pay for it. But for this guy's one, I really pity him. I hope he doesn't get into deeper hot water than he already is in, you know. So I brought that guy's case up because one day you will hear that they beat him up somewhere or something bad happened to him, you know, because in the name of making skits, you don't go harassing people, getting into their spaces and just messing them up. It was the one that he did, and he's making a call and he says the ritual people, they want to kill people for rituals and stuff. And he starts to say it, and the elderly people and everybody starts to scramble. If someone gets injured in that process, you say, "Oh, na skit." I beg, let's be calming down with all these pranks and skits.
Should just be calming down, except if we are not careful, it will land us in jail. As a 19-year-old boy now, as according to the magistrate, she's saying that they should go and get the rest of his gang members.
Yeah, wow, they don't believe
it's a skit. So on that note, that is all we take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time. But you could go back to YouTube and watch this video. It is Boom Radio NG. Like it, subscribe it, watch it. Do everything. Just be nice.
Leave a comment.
Have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead. We'll be back again.